You've probably noticed that every bottle of wood glue claims it's the strongest ever made. But if you've ever had a joint come apart, or just stood in the glue aisle overwhelmed, you've wondered, is that claim actually true, or are we pouring money down the drain for a fancy label? Today, I'm putting those bold promises to the test. I've gathered 10 different wood glues, ranging from the cheapest bargain bin brands to the most expensive premium options. We're about to find out which one really holds up, and trust me, one of these glues completely shocked me with its performance. To make sure this is fair, I'm using identical wood pieces and keeping every variable as controlled as possible. Same wood, same size, same conditions. No favorites, no hidden advantages. I want to give each glue its best possible shot at glory, or at least survival, in this showdown. That way, you'll know exactly which glue was the real deal and which ones are just sticky imposters. And here's how we're testing them. First, initial bond strength. How fast and strong does it grab? Then, clamp versus no clamp, because sometimes you just can't clamp every joint. Next, a water resistance test. Will your project survive a spill? And finally, the ultimate break test to see which glue holds so strong that the wood gives way before the joint does. Let's dive in, because only one glue is going to survive this showdown. Let's kick things off with the application test, because if a glue is a pain to use, it doesn't matter how strong it is. It'll drive you nuts before you even get to build anything. Right away, I noticed a huge difference. Some of these glues are thick and tacky, almost like peanut butter. They stay exactly where you put them, and spreading them is easy and predictable. Others are so runny they drip everywhere and run down the sides of the wood, making a complete mess on my workbench. And honestly, that's a recipe for disaster if you're building something delicate. Bad application isn't just annoying, it can seriously weaken your joints. If the glue doesn't spread evenly or oozes right off, you end up with dry spots or thin coverage. That's basically a weak point waiting to fail. For each glue, I carefully applied a consistent bead and spread it the same way, but some glues just fought me more than others. You can see here, for the thicker glues, the coverage is smooth and even, while the runny ones left gaps or pooled in the corners. This first step already started to separate the contenders from the pretenders. If you're in a rush or don't want to babysit your glue job, how the glue handles in your hand matters way more than you think. And as we'll see in the next tests, a bad start can spell disaster for your project down the line. Once all the joints were glued up and given the manufacturer's recommended curing time, it was time for the initial bond strength test. This is where we find out how much holding power you get right out of the gate, before the glue has had a chance to fully cure over days or weeks. I applied hand pressure to each joint, just like you might if you're in a hurry to move on with your project. You'll be shocked at how much variation there was. Some glues felt like they instantly locked the wood together, even after just a few minutes. Others, especially the cheaper options, were squishy and slipped apart with barely any resistance. That's not what you want if you're gluing something that needs to hold right away, like a quick repair or a project that can't stay clamped for long. The premium glues did a little better, but there were surprises here. One mid-priced glue absolutely crushed it, gripping faster than even the most expensive competitors. The takeaway? Initial bond strength might not matter for every project, but if you want to keep building without waiting forever, it's a critical factor. And it's not always the most expensive glue that comes out on top at this stage. Okay, let's get real for a second. Not every project can be clamped perfectly. Sometimes you run out of clamps, or the shape just doesn't allow it. So I glued a second set of joints with each glue, but this time I didn't clamp them at all. This is where the rubber meets the road for real-life woodworking. Would the glues hold up, or would they fall apart at the first sign of stress? Immediately, the differences became obvious. Some glues, especially those that brag about no clamp needed, actually lived up to the hype and formed a decent bond even without pressure. Others, mostly the cheaper or ultra-runny ones, just couldn't hack it. The joints wiggled, separated, or even fell apart completely. And remember, a weak glue joint here doesn't just mean a bad project, it could spell disaster for safety if you're building something structural. If you're prone to skipping the clamp step, or if you just want a glue that's a little more forgiving, this test is a real eye-opener. Some glues really surprised me with how well they performed, while others made it clear they belong in the craft bin, not the workshop. Now, let's talk about something every woodworker dreads: water damage. Whether it's a spilled drink, outdoor exposure, or just high humidity, water can wreak havoc on wood joints if your glue isn't up to the challenge. For this test, I applied water directly to each joint and let it soak for 24 hours, simulating a worst-case scenario for moisture exposure. After the soak, I checked each joint for swelling, softening, or visible weakening. Some glues, especially those labeled water-resistant or waterproof, held their ground, repelling moisture and keeping the joint rock solid. But a few started to get soft or even sticky again, which is a huge red flag for anything that might see outdoor use or even the occasional kitchen spill. This test separated the true heavyweights from the lightweights. If you're working on outdoor furniture, kitchen projects, or anything that could get wet, you definitely want to pay attention to these results. Water resistance isn't just a marketing term. It's the difference between a project that lasts and one that falls apart the first time it rains. Finally, it's time for the ultimate test, the break test. This is where we really find out which glue is the king of the hill. Using a force gauge, I applied increasing pressure to each joint until something gave. In some cases, the glue failed and the joint just popped apart. In others, the wood itself actually split before the glue let go, which is the gold standard for any woodworker. If your glue is stronger than the wood, you know you've got a winner. This part of the test was honestly the most dramatic. Some glues failed almost instantly, barely holding together under moderate force. Others, especially the mid-range and premium options, held on so tight that I had to put my full weight into breaking them. The best glue actually shocked me. It held so well that the wood shattered, leaving the glue line completely intact. This isn't just about bragging rights. If you're building something that needs to last, you want a glue that performs like this. Seeing the wood fail before the glue is the best endorsement any product can get. After all these tests, application, initial bond, clamp versus no clamp, water resistance, and the break test, it's time for the final rankings. Some glues that started strong in application fell apart when it came to water resistance or the break test. Others, which were a pain to use, actually turned out to be incredibly strong. But only a few managed to perform consistently well across every single category. I laid out the results in a grid, ranking each glue from worst to best based on their overall scores. Some of the cheapest glues didn't just underperform, they failed completely in at least one test. A couple of the premium brands were great, but didn't quite justify their sky-high prices with performance. The real shocker, though, was a mid-range glue that quietly outperformed almost every other option. This ranking isn't just about picking a winner. It's about giving you real, tested advice for your next project. Whether you value ease of use, water resistance, or raw strength, you'll see exactly where each glue shines and where it falls short. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the winner reveal. Out of all 10 glues, the one that came out on top wasn't the most expensive, and it wasn't the one with the flashiest label. It was a solid, mid-range glue that delivered professional-level strength, great water resistance, and was easy to apply. It's honestly the glue I'll be reaching for in my own shop from now on. This glue not only held up in every single test, but it also proved that you don't have to spend a fortune to get best-in-class performance. If you're looking for a reliable, all-around wood glue that won't let you down, this is the one to beat. I'm genuinely impressed, and I think you will be too once you see the results. So if you've been buying glue based on price or marketing hype, this might change the way you shop for good. Sometimes the best solution is hiding in plain sight, and now you know exactly what to look for. So, what did we learn from all this? First off, more expensive doesn't always mean better. Just because a glue costs twice as much doesn't mean it'll hold twice as strong. But, on the flip side, going too cheap can really be a recipe for failure. A few of those bargain bin glues didn't just perform poorly, they outright failed crucial tests, which could spell disaster for your project. The sweet spot, honestly, is finding a glue that balances price, performance, and ease of use. And as we saw, that's often a mid-range option. It's tempting to grab the cheapest bottle or the most hyped-up brand, but the real answer lies in actual, hands-on testing. That's why I love doing these experiments, so you don't have to gamble on your next build. Remember, in woodworking, the right glue can mean the difference between a project that lasts generations and one that falls apart in a week. Choose wisely, and definitely test for yourself before committing to that big project. Now I want to hear from you. What glue are you currently using in your shop? Have you ever had a joint fail on you? Maybe at the worst possible moment? Share your story in the comments below, because I love hearing about real-world experiences. Did you have a favorite glue that let you down? Or maybe a cheap option that surprised you? Your feedback helps everyone in the community make better choices, and who knows, you might help someone avoid a sticky situation on their next project. I'll be reading through the comments and responding to as many as I can, so don't be shy. Let's build better together. And hey, if you have a favorite glue that I didn't test today, let me know. I'm always looking for new contenders for the next showdown. If you enjoyed this deep dive into wood glues and want to see more real-world, hands-on woodworking tests, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton of exciting experiments lined up, including a game-changing wood finishing test that could completely revolutionize your next project. Seriously, you won't want to miss it. Subscribing ensures you'll be the first to know when new videos drop, and it helps support the channel so I can keep bringing you honest, science-based results. Plus, you'll become part of a community of makers who value facts over marketing claims. So, if you want to take your woodworking to the next level, and maybe save a little money along the way, smash that subscribe button and join the fun. Big things are coming up, and I can't wait to share them with you. So, which glue are you reaching for after seeing these results? Have you ever had a project fall apart because the glue just didn't cut it? I want to hear all about your triumphs and your disasters. Drop your stories in the comments below. Have you found a hidden gem? Or are you loyal to a tried-and-true brand? Let's swap some shop tales and help each other out. I always learn something new from your comments, and your experiences could save someone else a ton of time, money, and frustration. Don't forget, your feedback makes these experiments even better, and I'm excited to see what you have to say. If you love this showdown, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next round of real, hands-on woodworking tests. Up next, I'm tackling wood finishes to find out which one really brings out the beauty and durability in your projects. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay creative, and keep building awesome things.